back again this week. Nick and I, we might have people joining. We don't know. So, Nick, it's the 5th, January 5th.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So it's going to be New Year, New You. We're going to talk about moves we should make at the beginning of the year with as far as money goes. And speaking of moves we should make, we have a sponsor this week.
Yeah.
So my wife signed up for this Coors Seltzer Chatterbox pack. So she got these for free, and we have to talk about them and say that we got them for free and give people our honest opinion on them. So I cracked open a Coors Seltzer Black Cherry Hard Seltzer.
I have a Coors Seltzer Mango Hard Seltzer. Mango says man. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So I'm going to tell you what I think of this Black Cherry right now.
Yeah, I say.
Smells like cough medicine. Tastes slightly better. How you feel about mango?
Tastes like mango flavored water. That's not horrible.
It's not horrible. Full disclosure, I tried the lemon lime like 10 minutes ago, and I thought it was god awful. So my wife is stuck drinking that.
Yeah, say off the quick review of the lemon lime, I was expecting not to enjoy this. I can't say this is my. I mean, this is not bad.
It's good for free drink, right?
Listen, that might give it that little pop. But I'm not, I'm not usually the biggest. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not usually the biggest seltzer guy.
Yeah, I'm not typically into seltzer myself. This is something your wife might like.
Yeah, well, I say flavored mango water. I might be all right with this.
I know who would like this. My friend Sharon would fucking love this.
Yeah,
because it's very much a girl drink.
This is our second
paid sponsor,
paid alcohol sponsor.
Correct.
From like I said, we've had people sponsor us with alcohol.
Yeah, your brother especially.
Yeah, for sure.
But Michigan Wine Company sponsored us, and now we have Coors.
Coors, which is really close to what I'm drinking as well. So we went with, as David said, New Year, New You. This isn't new everything about you because I'm bringing out the same old me, Bud Light. I want you people to know that I'm still me, drinking my Bud Light. I'm just doing some things different this year.
So as Nick says, there are certain things that just are not new, and one of them is I'm drinking Atwater beer because I love Atwater. I got a Dirty Blonde, and I have Rochester Mills. I'm finishing up the 12 Days of Christmas with an Imperial Milkshake Stout. I got one left after that. It's the coconut, which I hate coconut. So.
Oh, I'll drink it. But I actually enjoy that Imperial. I thought it was fantastic. I love a good Imperial. Coors, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We really appreciate it. The only thing I'm going to give you is here's blue, but I need some blue mountains. All right,
yeah, I would agree. Where are the mountains?
I mean, there's mountains, but they're not blue. I mean, now I have an orange one.
I have a red one. I like blue mountains. I'm a purist like that.
I see, right? I've been watching Cobra Kai. Everybody else out there,
great show.
Who doesn't want to just start drinking regular Coors now, right?
Because Johnny drinks it,
right? Of course, got the glass bottle, and here we go. So I mean. Just kind of fits that we got a sweet sponsorship.
We will never turn down a sponsorship. Let me tell you right now, even if it's beer we don't like.
Yeah, I say we're still gonna drink it. And,
so I was excited. John Gonzalez from the paper.
Yeah,
started following us on Twitter. That was very exciting. He was telling us what he was drinking, and I told him what we were drinking.
Yeah, that's a big follow.
I was pretty excited about that. He mentioned the beer that we should try, so I'm gonna make sure I find that and we'll try it in the next couple of 3 weeks here.
I say Bell's just came out with Hop Slam, so I'm really excited to get out and get a few of those. No, that was so. Speaking of that, right? Let's start out with it. New year, new us. We need to start asking you guys for subscribed shares. Will help get more subscriptions, right? Subscribe to things for us. Help us get out there.
Follow us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.
It's free to do. It doesn't cost you a thing, and we hope that we bring you some good content this year. Our goal is to give you guys exactly what you want, not the way you want it. So
speaking of updates, I got a message the other day from Vanessa. Anybody that's watched our show, we did a debt consultation with Vanessa. She had some great things to say, and she was asking me about changing up the strategy on paying off the cards because she thought that her Amazon card actually went up in APR.
Yeah.
So her and I did a little talking, and she messaged me a little bit ago, and she goes, "All right, I called, and now I feel dumb." And I'm like, "Why? What happened?" And she goes, "They actually lowered my interest rate. I just had it confused."
Thought it was lower.
She thought it was lower,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So they lowered it from 20 point something to 19 point something. And she's like, all that time wasted on the phone. I'm like, yeah, but look at the good thing. They lowered it.
And you now know.
And
what
you
it's
know
really
that it's
at,
lowered. Yeah. She goes, so I mean, that's my highest interest rate card, but it's also my lowest balance. So does this change anything? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Get that thing paid off.
Yeah.
Let's go. Pay the highest APR first because you know you can, and it's also the lowest amount. So let's go and let's get it out of here.
So, if it's a friend of yours and they're doing you a favor, right? You don't want to, and they don't want paid off, don't pay them off, right? Like
Right.
my land contracts, right? I mean, yeah, I have a higher interest rate on my land contracts, but they did me a favor that I got the land contract. I got to purchase something.
Yep.
So I don't really worry about that higher interest rate paying them off. But like I don't know Amazon, and dude already makes a crap. I'm not paying this dude an extra 20%. Like,
All he's done is make billions through the pandemic. And he threw his workers
so
a little bit.
yeah, we can't say trillions yet because I mean, well,
Not quite there.
he made the one and then he made the other. No, so like, all right, so like I don't give other people your money, right? I mean, you hear the old thing with real estate, other people's money. Sure, use other people's money as a gift, like, and as a tool, right? But to spend other people's money and have to pay them back, like, no. Like, I mean, I'm notorious. I'm the first to admit, right? Like, I'm notorious for somebody needs $100, and I'll get you 120 on Friday. Dude, that's great return. Like,
Yeah.
Even if I don't really know you too well, I'm usually that guy that gives $100, but like, I'm gonna see you for that 120. Like,
Right.
so I don't do long. I mean, I do some long-term loans on some house stuff, but pay off those debts quickly because it adds up. Like, it adds up way too quick, and it costs way too much money. Think about that 20%. I mean, that's $20 on $100, right?
Yeah.
That's another something that you probably just bought. That you,
Tank of gas.
yeah, like, wow. Say just breaking it
I
down.
mean, that's your gas bill in the summer for any month.
Yeah. Oh, I say, yeah. I'm in the summer. My gas bill for one of my properties just paid was, I don't know, just shy of $1,000. So, yeah, that's for the whole place. But no, great guys. So again, Coors, really, actually, I'm gonna say good job on the mango.
The further you get into this, it's better.
Let's say I'm very happy that we got the sponsor. Thanks to Dawn, if you're watching and listening, for getting us the sponsorship. Guys, if you can't sponsor us yourself, but you know people that can, we're gonna take those as well.
So you better believe we are.
It's pretty awesome. This is a large corporation sponsor.
Shout out to looks like Ripple Street and Chatterbox. Thank you so much for this little sponsorship here. We're gonna drink some of these and then we're gonna go back to the regular beer because we are kind of beer guys. I mean, seriously. So new year, what do we want to do with our money? First thing I think we need to talk about with money is the thing we always harp on. Everybody should have it. Everybody should write it down. What is it, Nick?
A budget.
Gotta have a budget.
This is David and I we sat and talked, just friends who do this. It's funny because we do this every week, and sometimes we have to think to ourselves like, hey, what would we do? And this topic came up, and we're like, all right, man, we set goals for ourselves. We're like, hey, what do we want to do? And I was like, like these are some things. And we're like, hey, let's set things for people. Like, all right, number one thing we harp on is budgeting. So guys, that's the number one thing that you're going to want to do here, is get yourself a budget. Write it down, make that your New Year's resolution, New Year's goal. I mean, yeah, we're a couple days past, but like, make this happen. So like, step one, write a budget so you can track your money.
Well, when we look at new year, new goals and stuff, we look at writing it down. It helps keep you accountable. You're accountable to yourself. You're accountable to your family. This is what I'm spending. This is where I need to be. So that puts you in a better spot than just to say, well, I didn't eat out this week, so I can buy 3 pizzas.
Well, and that's and if you remember 2020, I mean, granted, 2020 was a little different. We all stayed home, so chances you didn't spend as much, right? So it's going to be a little tough to compare. But look at yourself. If you were a working person, stayed working. Okay, so look at yourself right now when you're watching this, when you're listening to this. How much money do you have in your bank account? Okay, like if your stimulus hit, don't really count that, but like, I mean, hopefully you're going to save it, but chances are you're going to spend it. But like, all right, so take that money, take exactly what you have right now. Our goal by the end of the year, and something to hold you accountable to, right? We're going to write the budget, we're going to do things, and by the end of next year, we're hoping that you have the same, like doubled it, right? Because I mean, if you've already saved this much over 1 year, we're hoping that you can save it again the second year plus more. And some people have things going for them, but our goal is to get your net worth and start tracking things throughout this year to show you, hey, this crap really works. Like, we're, you know what? I mean, I always say, hey, I'm dumb, and but like, we're actually really smart people when it comes to finances. We're dumb in life, like we're dumb in so many other things in this world. Dumb at losing weight, say, but we're pretty smart.
We're pretty smart when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of money, so I looked at Caitlin's investments the other day because New year, and I wanted to know kind of where she was sitting. So I did an ROI on all of her investments.
ROI, return on investment, for people that are watching.
So of course I tell her what it is, and I'll tell you in a minute. And she goes, "Okay, I don't really understand." And I said, "Great,
That's fine."
I said, "I'll explain it to you this way. If you take $1, put it in Lake Michigan, they give you 3 cents.
Yep.
Your investments, I took $1 and I put it in your investments, and right now they're giving you 25 cents.
That's good money.
That's really good money.
Yeah,
25% return on her investments.
All of them combined?
All of them combined.
That's really a good return.
The worst she's sitting at is 9.
Well, 3 with Lake Michigan, right?
Well, I didn't look at any of her like
Savings.
checkings accounts or savings accounts, because I mean, like Ally earns her 0.5, I think.
Sure. But
So
still, it earns the money.
It earns money. So I mean, we throw money all over the place for her, and I'm always keeping track of it. And I knew, okay, giving her the percentage of 25, it doesn't really mean anything. She's sitting there going, all right, I don't know what that means. But when I break it down and say, well, your regular checking account's earning you 3 cents, but this one's earning you 25 cents, you can go, oh, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is. It's 8 times better.
I look at things, and some of the things that we love to do is teach kids, and so we do that. We do that with our kids. And David does it on a little bit bigger of a scale because his kid comprehends. She's 26 and she's starting to learn. But like, my 5-year-old, right? I put $1 out there and I say, hey, look, you can have this $1 with this penny, or you can have this $1 with this quarter. And normally she takes the quarter only because it's a bigger coin. And so, right, but like if I were to do it with a dime and a nickel, she'll probably take the nickel. And so teaching her, hey, this one's actually worth double what this is something I love to teach her. Now she's starting to understand, like, hey, if Dad holds out a 5 and a 1, which one do we get to spend at the store today? She like thinks about it. She's like, Dad, how many of those go into those? And I'm like, nope, you got to pick, and I'll tell you the answer later, right? And so it's really fun to me. We talk about ROIs, and I love it because I sent David a text, and I was like, I'm getting 28.7%. On my Betterment. Yeah. So big shout out to Betterment, right? Like this is I started it because I want my kid to have some money when she's 18. I don't touch it. I put a little bit of money every week into it. And it's one of my highest performing assets outside of, I guess, real estate. I'm earning, like, on the flips that I do, if I continue on the path I'm doing, I'm gonna earn really good money. But for a set it and forget it type of a thing, gosh, Betterment is doing great, right? Like I think they outbeat Vanguard this year.
And looking at Betterment, here's the thing we love about them: they have really low fees.
So
low. I think my Roth IRAs that sit with Invesco right now are the lowest one is 0.85%, which is over 3 times what Betterment's sitting at. So I made the decision, a week or so ago. I'm like, all right, I'm making okay money here. I think my ROI for them is, I don't know, like 6-7%. So it's not great, but it's okay.
Sure.
I'm taking all of that out. I'm putting it into Betterment, transfer it all over to their Roth.
Yeah.
Because now I'm paying less money in fees to the company to manage that money, and I'm going to get better returns because I get better returns at Betterment than I do at Invesco.
Yep. So I think, we brought up Betterment a little early, but that's going to be our probably our number 3, right? So we have number 1, write a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess we can lump it in with number 2. Number 2 is start investing, right? For whether it's so I want everybody that has a W-2 or everybody that has any way to get a company match of something. I want you to go get your 401ks, your Roth 401s, your IRAs,
your 403bs.
Yeah, like all these. So I want, if you haven't started and you say, hey, I haven't had the time. You know what? Like start out with I hate to say it, but like start with 1, 2, 3%. Like my goal is to get you up to 25. I mean, or actually max things out, right? Because I mean, some people 25 is too much. But like my goal, like really, my first thing, figure out what they're matching and do it. Like go to HR, right? Go to your boss, go to anybody, and say, hey, what do I have to do to get started investing with the company? And they're gonna say what? And 401ks, 403s, like this is our number 1 thing, okay? And now if you're, and I deal with a lot of contractors now, like now that I don't have work, right? Like contractors, right? 1099 employees. So like I have some friends that deliver pizzas. I have right. There's so many companies out there that don't do anything for their employees. So that's where Betterment comes into play, right? Start a Betterment, start an investment, start something to guarantee that your future has some type of money, right?
Well, I think what people may not understand, especially when it comes to small businesses, is, there are costs to do all of these things. So, I mean, health insurance is a big one. If you work for a business and they give you health insurance, that costs them a lot of money. Okay. Everybody sits there and they go, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, it sucks. It's so expensive. It's so much cheaper than insurance used to be for a person. And it's still not where companies are paying. I mean, companies pay, $1,500 to cover you, your wife, and a kid
every week.
Yeah, it's astronomical. And the same thing with retirement accounts. So, having a small business, my wife came to me at one point and she goes, does it make any sense to get in on the SBA's 401k? And she sent it to me and I looked at the fees and I said, oh no, we'll make more money with a Roth.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have full-time employees. She's our full-time employee.
Yeah. Well, and so just to let you guys know, so if you need information on anything we talked about, we've probably done episodes on Roth and regular traditional 401ks and 403s and right. So go back and look at those episodes. We're not going to get into too many details about it. We're just going to, right now we're telling you, hey, these are the things that we want you to start. So, and chances are you actually probably know that there's usually one employee around that kind of talks, hey, do you have a 401k? Like I was that nerdy guy. Hey man, are you are you doing 401k or whatever? No, like, no, but I got $20 a week of my paycheck going into company stock. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, and you're doing fine. Yeah. I don't even notice it now. It just comes out and I have a normal paycheck. And I'm like, dude, what you should do is like throw another $20 because you can set a perfect amount, throw another $20 into 401k. Well, and I'm like, dude, we went out and drank last week and you spent $100. I'm pretty sure you can afford the $20. All right. And so I start getting people like to understand, hey, and we start dreaming about the future. And like, again, my Betterment is for 18 years. So now it's down to 13 years, dude. My kid's getting old quick.
Yeah.
But like, right, it started so long as a dream. And now I'm sitting there, and so it really is just, I want to have somewhat more of a better guarantee that money will be there for that big wedding, for that car, for that, I don't care. I mean, even if I take it early at Sweet 16 and throw like the biggest bash, theoretically, it was free money that I would have spent on beer anyway, but I'm actually investing it into something else, right? Like I'm investing it for, doesn't matter what you invest it for, people. Like I hope that it's always for your retirement and hope that it's for you to get by. But if there's a point where it, I guess it's funny because, who I am, I look at things and go, all right, I need enough money to where if my grandparents end up in the hospital and my company tells me I can't take time off, I just say, hey, look, I'm gonna take time off and now I just draw this money. Granted, I'll find a job, but like, so if I have 20K, that buys me a half a year. That buys me 6 months that I can spend with my family to guarantee that I get to be with them through the times of their need. Yeah, I lost a really good job, but I didn't lose a very good company because they didn't give me what I needed, right? So my mind has always thought like that, like, hey, what if? And so I plan for the worst and hope for the best, So
Well, through all of our episodes, we've been doing this, I don't know, 8, 9 months now. We've talked about great investment opportunities, whether it's Betterment or Stash or Acorns or Robinhood or We started doing We. I started doing Dough. So we had an episode right before Christmas on all about beer.
Yeah.
And as usual, we get off of that episode and we start talking amongst ourselves. And we had Lawrence on, and Lawrence is a good friend. And he just started getting beat up by Nick and Ummer because he doesn't really pay attention to his money. And they just went nuts.
Which is fun for us.
It is. It really is. So Ummer starts telling us about Webull, which is another, investing platform that you can buy stocks and stuff on. And we all start going and, getting Ummer's referrals so you can get some free stocks and we get free stocks. So we bought a bunch of stuff, whatever. I get a message from Lawrence. I haven't told you this. I get a message from Lawrence the next day.
Yeah.
One of their major investors is Chinese. I don't know if you care, but I just want you to know. And I'm like, Lawrence, I don't care.
You're from England, okay? Like, you're foreign. I mean, so this is right, Webull, right? We downloaded it, so that was a fun conversation.
It was. And I mean, again, we talked for, I don't know, an hour and a half about beer.
Yeah.
And then we probably spent another hour and a half just sitting here talking about beer and money because God, we love talking about money. We just really do. And I mean, if you have questions, please reach out. We do need to talk after this because we have a few people that want to talk to us, by the way, and we'll get into that off camera. So, I mean, we've given all these investment tools. Are there any quick other investments you want to give everybody, Nick?
Investment, like, no, nothing technically investment wise. So, I guess the next thing I want to talk about, right, is starting a savings account, right?
Before you do, the last investment thing I want to say, if you haven't already, go open a Roth.
And we talked about it before, but here's my thing about Roth, right? Okay. So you're gonna make you're watching this, you're 40 years or less. You're gonna make shit tons more money when you're older. Like, if you think that you're gonna make the same amount right now as you are when you're older, like, you have low goals for yourself. You're not aiming high enough. Like, statistics show that you make your most money between like 50 and 60 years old, like, right when you're getting towards retirement. That's why you find people like starting to stay a little longer and stuff like that. But like, look at all this research that shows, hey, like, you make so much, like, your money almost doubles from the age of 20 to 50, like, your income guaranteed. It's crazy how it works, right? You get promotions, you get raises, you've been in the company, like,
well, not even just that. I mean, so the idea of having an IRA as opposed to a Roth is when you retire, you make less money now, so you'll pay less in taxes, even though your tax rate might be a little higher. But I gotta ask you, Nick, because I know my personal feelings on this. I set up my investments in a specific way. When you retire, do you expect to make less money than you do right now? No, because we're going to keep earning money. It might not be at a job, but we're going to keep earning money.
Correct.
So I want all of that money that I'm earning in my Roth tax free.
Well, and it's funny because I got lucky in the idea of that, because I started Roth probably 2 or 3 years after I had my 401k, but it was just because somebody explained it to me that, hey, Roth, you pay your taxes now and then you get your money later tax free. I was like, oh man, the amount of growth, and I started doing math, and I was like once I realized, like, okay, my tax bracket here is, I don't know, 20 percentile or whatever, right? Like, my goal is to be in that 33% tax bracket. Like,
absolutely,
I'm gonna pay like, I think it was like Tony Robbins one day said, my goal is to pay $1 billion in taxes. He goes, think about how much fucking money I made. And I was like, that's a lot of coin, right? Like he goes, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I was like, man, that's a great way to put it.
Well, for any of you listening out there, you have a friend that is like Nick or I, who is just going to sit down and talk to you about this for free because they like talking about it. And I'm that friend for a lot of people. You're that friend for a lot of people. We're that friend for each other.
Yeah.
We bounce investment stuff off of each other all the time because we're always looking to make more money off our money. My money needs to work, damn it. I work, it needs to work.
Thing, it's funny because you hear all these kids, I want to be a YouTube person. And sure, you can, but like, I don't, I just had somebody the other day. So one of my business partners, she's like, oh, my daughter wants to start learning some stuff. She's tired of working. I was like, we've all been there, but you're like it instantly. I was like, you got to start investing your money. Like, how much is she putting? Like all these questions. How much is she putting away? What is she doing to stop working? Like, I have friends that have taken months of actually they took 10 years of hiatus of not working. Like, he just doesn't work. Like, he took 10 whole years, and he's like, and I was like, what are you gonna do? And he goes, well, I mean, you just find odd jobs and you find things that you want to do. He goes, but I saved up a crap ton of coin that I don't have to go back to work. I was like, that makes so much sense. He goes, so I can't tell people I'm retired because there's a chance I'll go back to work someday, but for the right stuff. And he picks up jobs here and there for like 3-4 month projects, but it's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. The options we have nowadays, they're just absolutely phenomenal, which reminds me of something. We're gonna pause for just a second here if I can make my mouse work. Pause. No, hang on, we're gonna pause. So a little break there. I had to ask my wife a question, and you guys didn't need to be privy to that boring crap. So do we want to go down the list as it is, or you had started to talk about something else?
Yeah. So, well, I guess, right. So we're gonna try to keep it going, right? Number one, number two, number three is gonna be opening a savings account, right? Play it safe. Yep. Play it safe. Don't take risks, things like that. Like if you're just not comfortable doing, you know what? Here's my suggestion, right? Like, hey, you don't think that you can afford that $20 a month or a week? $20 a week or every paycheck bi-weekly, whatever it is, for 401k, right? So here's my suggestion: is test yourself, right? Open for 2 months, right? I don't want this to last forever, so I'm gonna give you 10 months to invest and 2 months to try it out. But which is anywhere from 8 weeks to 4 paychecks, depending. And so what I want you to do is I want you to open up a savings account, take $20 and have it automatically deposited over there. At the end of the 2 months, right? But at the end of February, if you have not touched it and you said, hey, I haven't thought about it. Oh my gosh, I have, 160 bucks. Like you're realizing that, hey, you have a little bit. Good. Stop investing into your savings account. Put it over to your retirement. Because savings account means you can touch it right here, right now, anytime you need it, any second.
Well, here's the thing I don't think people really understand about savings accounts. And I've talked a little bit about this, but I think it needs to be driven home. So when it comes to retirement accounts, when it comes to even life insurance policies. So my aunt is a great example. My aunt lived like she was poorer than poor. She made 40 grand a year. Nick, the last time I shot before, this year or 2020 was with Nick and my aunt. And she had her own place. She didn't have any reason to live poor, but she lived like she was a poor person. She got diagnosed with colon cancer. She died a year and a half later. She could have at any point in time after that diagnosis, because they told her, listen, it's stage 4, you're going to die in the next 5 years. She could have at any point in time taken all of her retirement out, taken all of her life insurance policies out, and done anything she wanted to do. But she didn't do any of those things. And to me, that's ridiculous. At some point, you want to enjoy whatever you made. I had a friend over the other day. We were talking about, kids and stuff. And I said, at some point I would like Caitlin to have a kid because I want to be a grandpa at some point.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's going to be 26 this year. And you know, she's not really dating anybody seriously. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I have no idea. And I'm not pressuring her. You know, if she doesn't want to, great. But I'm sitting there looking at everything I've amassed. And I have these large collections that are worth money, and I'm saving money. And there's going to be an inheritance. And she's going to, you know, basically make bank when Dawn and I pass away. I want that to not end with her. I don't want her to sit there and go, all right, well, I'm dead and now nobody gets it. I want her to have somebody to be able to pass that on to, so that all of my hard work at some point is realized later, that, you know, my daughter got to enjoy it, my grandkids got to enjoy it, their kids got to enjoy it. I really want that at some point.
Sure. No, and that's, you know, I think that's huge. You know, when you're living the poor life, right? And let's call it poor life. I can't put it nicer.
Most of us have been there.
Right? Like you don't. I mean, even I guess, right? Middle class, whatever. Like, there's no
Middle class right now is poor.
Yes. So, you know, a few years ago, a friend of mine brought me up to his grandparents' cabin on Silver Lake.
Yep.
Right, and it's a house. I don't want to call it a cabin. This is a house with every amenity you could want, right? Wi-Fi, and it's, I don't know, 3 bedrooms, just right on the water.
Yep.
And they have a you know, like when you get jealous of people, like for what they have, right? So there's a boat, there's a pontoon that includes all the gas.
Yep.
There's a Jeep that you can go on the dunes with.
Yep.
Like everything was all inclusive. And I was like, man, like what is this? And he's like, oh, my grandfather does all this. And he goes, you know, he wants the whole entire family come up here and not have a single care, except for, you know what, like if you could bring some food or something like that to like replenish, so that way, you know, your fruits are gonna go bad and stuff like that. And he goes, that's the only thing you ask. And he goes, yeah, it's in a trust, so that way forever, right? Like for the longest time, this is gonna constantly. He goes, if the Jeep breaks, we go right here to this repair shop. They pay the bill, everything gets done. He goes, we have this list of people to call for, you know, AC goes out, heat goes out, like anything. And it's just, you're like, I want that. Like I want, oh man, like where did your parents get this beautiful thing? Like, you know, because I mean, dude, they probably bought it back in the day for, let's call it
nothing,
$40,000 right on the water. Now it's worth $500,000. Dude, 20 years from now, things would be worth like what, 1.5 million. I mean, if numbers keep going the way they are, like it's just going to be insane.
Well, you know, you look at the house I grew up in Plainwell, which, you know, it's on a road. There's literally no money in Plainwell unless you live in Dawson.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we have 5 acres. We have 2 ponds on the property. It's 5,400 square feet. We could probably sell it for 325, 350 if we wanted to.
Oh.
My grandmother bought that house in 1972 for like $12,000.
And that's what you find, man. Like it's insane. So I guess like the idea behind that is right, like invest for the future, not just your future, but the next future and the future after that. Like make it. You don't have to give people shit, but like you can make it easier for them. It was funny as crap. Oh my gosh. So side thing, because that's what we do. I was driving today and I'm in like a 2006 18 Camry or something like that. Company vehicle. You know, all Mr. Fancy. And I was like, dude, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy my daughter a nicer car, and then like one day I'm just gonna go take off the battery terminal. Right, like, and then the next day I'm gonna like take her wheel off, right, like, because she'll never understand what it was like for me, like the times where the tire popped, or getting in and hoping the car starts up, like she won't understand. And I was like, I don't want, I mean, because I need her to understand that she doesn't need to take that for granted. And like people struggle to, you know, because I was like, what did I have in my mind if I couldn't make it to school because my car broke down? Oh yeah, I got to call my grandparents or something and say, hey, like my car broke. So I had to pre-plan for everything, and that's how my mind worked. Is like, all right, if your car breaks down, what do? All right, you have $0 to your name. You can't call a tow truck. You call your brother who has a vehicle who can come pick you up, or like you know. So but you know, the idea is like even at that, like she's 5, and I'm already thinking about her first car, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy her a $4,000 vehicle. Hopefully, she pays $2,000 towards it. Like build up money. You know what I mean?
I bought Caitlin her first car. She was 14.
Yeah, pays her own insurance and stuff, and so, you know, it'll teach them stuff. Like, I think that everybody has to earn everything. they don't have to earn it 100%. You know, I mean, if my kid wants a Lambo and I have an extra, you know, if it's $100,000 and she has 50,000 that she can throw at it by the age of 18 or 16, like if she tells me from 16 to 18 she's gonna buy a Lambo 18 and she throws 50K at it, dude, like I'm gonna probably throw that 50K at it. But rules are gonna be I drive it first and on Sundays, right? Like, let's say, you know, but I want to be at that point where it's hey, you know what, you've earned it, let's do it.
I have some bad news to break to you.
What's that?
We don't own Lambo.
I can fit a passenger seat. I mean, I'll hire a chauffeur for. Like,
I don't think I fit in a Lambo, dude.
We could try. You know what? Like, we could buy it. No.
So, getting back to our list here.
You know, so that's the whole point. The whole point is invest for your future, right? So the top 3 things: invest for your future, invest in you, invest in yourself, invest in your family, invest in. You know, if you don't love yourself, find love for yourself, right? Because that's the number one thing. And then invest because you wanna love everybody else.
When we talk about writing down your budget, but I think the other really important thing about that is tracking your spending. When we talked to Vanessa, she said not only did she have a budget written down, but she tracked every dollar that came in and went out, so that she knew exactly where everything was going. And she had told me so Vanessa and I met the end of August, and she told me, yeah, we don't eat out much. We don't spend any money there.
Yeah.
And then when we met with Nick, she goes, I couldn't believe how much money we spent eating out. I just had no idea. And I started tracking it. I'm like, holy crap, I need to cook more.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, and that's what you find. Like, you don't realize it. I mean, even today, right? I bought breakfast and I bought lunch and went home and my wife made dinner. But it's funny because I was going to the drive-throughs and I was like, hey, you know, I probably spend $100 every week on stupid freaking lunch. Or, you know, I was like, this is crazy. No, but you know, so budgeting, right? So I'm gonna we'll touch base or we'll touch back on it real quick, right? So like if you have a house payment, car payment, any type of a payment that has to go out, right? So all your bills, all your everything that goes out needs to go down. If it's a guaranteed thing, not if it's something that is once in a while, like, but so if you're on an IPSI, if you're on a family handyman like myself for once every 3 years, if you're on anything that's recurring, Netflix, write that down, write that bill down. Okay. Now on another part on the bottom, right, you're gonna have hey, we got hit with Tyler got, you know, his arm broken, or little this, you know, my flat tire. There's things that are gonna happen, right? So write everything that you spend going out, but like track your main guarantees. So this is guaranteed money that you're always gonna spend. Always gonna happen. There's no changing it. Life sucks, get over it. You know, I mean, I guess if you have a house, 30 years, if you have rent, I mean, that's forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, those are easy things to track. If you write it down, you know what it is.
Yep.
And then you can figure out where to cut here, there, or everywhere else.
And you know, the funny thing is so people are going, oh, I don't want to track this. Okay. But here's my goal for everybody. Okay. Take one day, take a busy day. Okay. You're having a very busy day. You wake up and you know you're going to have a busy day. Track everything you spend. Why? Because you know what? When you have to take when your mind thinks and you go, oh, I have to write down this McDonald's for $3, like it's gonna be a trigger in your brain. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, oh, I went to the gas station and bought a pop or a candy bar, and now I have to take that time to write this down. You're either A, gonna stop wanting to write things down, so you're gonna stop buying things, or B, you're gonna fail. But really, you're gonna succeed because you're gonna realize, hey, I spent way too much, and I need to stop stopping at places to buy stupid shit.
Oh, and what it really does is it will make you think about what your actual time investment is on those things. So I'm gonna, you know, I decide, hey, it's early. I don't want to cook breakfast. My wife's out early. She doesn't have time to cook breakfast. Screw it. I'm gonna run over to McDonald's and get a sausage McMuffin with egg.
Oh, or a Baconator from Wendy's that I had this morning.
Or that, is that good?
That was actually pretty good.
You can get a free one on the app.
Oh,
with any breakfast purchase, and their potato wedges are awesome. Anyways, so you decide, hey, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna spend $5 on breakfast this morning. And you think about it, all right, well, I have to drive over there, and that's gonna cost me, you know, 15 minutes, so you know, 40 cents in gas. And then I'm gonna spend $5, and I'm up to $5.40. And I only make $11 an hour. So that's basically half of my pay for an hour. Do I really need to stop and get breakfast if it's going to cost me half of that? I mean, even if you make more money, I mean, Nick, what did you made it about 20 at Gentex?
A little more, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm around 30 at my job, and I have to sit there and I always think about it in a time aspect. How much time do I have to work to spend this money?
It's funny. So
is it worth it?
No, and that's it's funny because I had a kid I worked with who used to call it Rex hours. Rex was a boss. Rex was my boss, right? And he kind of didn't. They butted heads. So it's funny. He goes, "Oh, how many Rex hours is this gonna be?" Right? I was like, "Dude, if you keep that up, you're gonna be successful." And the kid, right? Like he got to the point where he had 2 kids and his wife stopped working because, right? He was just financially smart. So
yeah,
again, if you're young and you don't have kids, but you think, hey, and everybody bitches about childcare. So get to that point where decisions don't own your life, right? Like if you're a person that's not going to have $100,000 a year fucking income, understand that, you know what, like you can afford to have your wife stay home if you learn how to budget, right? I mean, just buy a smaller house until you get by.
Yep.
Buy this until things get by. Like, yes, okay. Everybody tries to fight everything and go, oh, well, she's staying home. Now we have to find it at home work. No, like just budget and like live within your means, man.
Well, and here's the biggest thing for anybody that's watching. You can do anything you want to do.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to put in the work. So, like, you're watching Nick and I right now. We love beer. We love food. Big guys. Do you know how to eat healthy?
Yes.
I know how to eat healthy.
I've officially started eating 1 salad a day.
Okay.
For at least one meal has to be a salad.
And we know how to do it.
Yeah.
But you know what I also know?
Oh, that bacon tastes great.
Oh my God, it tastes so good. Hamburger tastes so good.
Yeah.
Pizza?
Yeah. Oh,
love me some good pizza.
I had a Baconator this morning.
My wife, when she makes a cheesecake,
yeah.
Oh, I'm all about that.
I'm all about your wife's cheesecake.
You know what? I know you are. You know what I got turned on to lately? Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, we've been buying them too. Or those Magnum ice creams.
Oh yeah, those.
Like, depends on which one goes on sale for $3 a piece.
Yeah, if it's $3, I'm buying. So listen, being skinny is the easiest thing in the world if you want to put in the work.
Yes.
Nick and I are not skinny for several reasons. One of them is, we like. Well, I don't like to cook, but you cook a little bit, and Courtney cooks.
Yeah,
and Dawn loves to cook.
When I said salad has to be one of my meals, it has to be with one of my meals. So like today I went to Arby's,
right,
for my second drive-through, and I got a side salad and some chicken sliders.
Yep.
And so I mean, it wasn't that healthy, right? But you can have what you want. You just have to do. You have to be willing to do the thing it takes to get what you want.
Well, right? It's the same thing with money. If you want more money, you have to work your ass off to get it. Nothing in this life comes easily. So if you want to be skinny, you got to work really hard to be skinny. If you want to be rich, you got to work really hard to be rich. Nobody's handing us anything.
Same. I think rich is a mindset, right? I mean,
it is. It really is.
So when we write our budget, right? So we're gonna do another thing. We're gonna write down our debts, right?
Yep.
How much money you owe somebody that you've taken out loans for?
Not only how much money, what are you paying interest-wise on those? And when do you expect them to pay off?
And we want you guys to get detailed on this. Mm-hmm. Like this is a new year, like
very detailed.
We've started realizing that a lot of generic, like, hey, we want to talk to you guys exactly how to do it. Right. So, it's funny because this came about because I got a phone call today about switching my insurance, which is another thing we're going to bring up. But switching my insurance, the guy goes, hey, did you be able to compare apples to apples? And I was like, no. I go, I don't even know who like 5 of my rentals are with. Like, I really have no clue.
So, homeowners insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I was like, I should really get my shit in life figured out. Like, and he starts laughing. And I was like, that's sad. Like, I just pay people money. Like, and I don't know who it goes to, and I don't really care. Like, it's bad. Like, saying it out loud sucks. All right, you need to know where every dollar goes, even if it's insurance and something you can't control. Let's say, I mean, you could control it by going cheaper, but like, there's certain things that you need to understand. You need to write down every bill, every interest rate. You need to write down, hey, if I pay the bare minimum, how long will this take for me to pay it off if I don't add to it, right? Like, and our hope is, that you guys realize, hey, some of these could be 6 months. You know, let's say some of them are, hey, I only have 6 months left to pay. But if I pay an extra $10, I can pay it off in 2 months. Like, do that. Like, I mean, if there's some small bills, I mean, PS5s came out. PS5s came out, right? And I'm guaranteeing people financed the $600.
No,
Okay.
absolutely, they did.
So you just got a stimulus check. Okay. Take that. You already made payments, so now you're down to $400 probably, 425 after interest. Take the 420 and just pay your credit card that you put this thing on.
So here's a great example. 2 years ago, I needed a roof.
Yeah.
And I need a roof. I called Nick.
Yep.
Nick, what would you do? He goes, go get a HELOC. Talk to Lake Michigan, get a HELOC, low rates, no big deal. So I go and I talk to Lake Michigan, and they're like, yeah, these are the rates on the HELOC. I went, that's not bad. I think it was 4.5%.
That's pretty high.
So I talked to my daughter, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna borrow this money from you. I'm gonna pay you back 3%, just like you would have made at Lake Michigan. And I'm gonna do it for 2.5 years. And she goes, okay. And that was December of 18. I paid that off in December of 20.
Yep.
I didn't pay off 2 years of it. I paid 2.5 years of it because I factored out what I'm going to pay in interest for a full 2.5 years. And I made sure I threw as much extra as I could have. And I paid her 2.5 years of interest on that to make it worth her while for allowing me to borrow the money and to save myself money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 1.5% probably.
Well, I mean, on a HELOC, you can do, 1.5% plus. I mean, because HELOC, you could technically do for 10 years, right? Until it becomes a 20-year mortgage. It becomes a second. So, like, you have potential to just spend just interest only for 10 years and pay all that. So, yes, it's funny because anybody watching, listening, you have to understand how stand-up of a move that is, right? You're still paying the extra 0.5% to borrow money because it's the right thing to do, right? And like that's what separates the good people from the people who will always take advantage.
Well, that's just it. I mean, she did me a solid by allowing me to borrow that money. It was like $13,000.
Yeah.
Which, in all honesty, I mean, we hit some money issues at the beginning of 19. Especially with Dawn not knowing what she wanted to do.
Yep.
So I ended up taking more money from her than I expected to. I would just say, hey, listen, I got to take a little bit this month. And she's like, yeah, that's fine, Dad. Do whatever you need to do.
Yep.
So, I mean, I ended up taking that 13 up to 19.
Yeah.
And I still paid that 19 off in 2 years. And that was my goal. I wanted to pay it off early so that I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And she had money in case she needed it for something. And of course, she just bought her first place. She bought a condo.
Yep.
So she had all of her money back to do that with. And, we went out Christmas Eve, her and I went out. And she wanted a small sectional. So we went to Bob's Discount Furniture. Now, I recommend this to everybody. Freeze your credit. That way people can't just use it. When you freeze your credit, Nick, make sure you remember. Oops. So we go to Bob's and they're like, yeah, we can do 6 months, no interest. And I'm like, all right, I'm down with that. I like 6 months, no payments or no interest.
Was there a cash discount?
There was not.
Which is a first.
Yeah, it was just if you finance it, it can be 6 months, no interest. I'm like, all right.
I'll always take that.
So we sit down and she's like, I get extra money if I, get so many credits run today. Can I run your credit? She goes, it's soft inquiry. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. So she runs mine. Then she runs my daughter's. And she comes back with, we have to pay $30 for an instant yes or no. Because they can't give us a yes or no. It's going to take 7 days. What do you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying $30 for anything. She goes, well, then we have two options. You can either pay for it now or we can put it under yours because you've already been approved for $5,000. That's fine. Put it under mine. I don't care.
Yeah.
I go home and I look at my daughter and I say, listen, it probably happened because your debt to income is higher now because you just bought your first place. And I go home and like 2 days later, I go, oh crap. She's got a freeze on her credit. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't pull her credit. So like an idiot, I kind of, handcuffed her. She couldn't do anything. So, at the end of the day, it's on mine and I don't really care. She's going to pay it off in 6 months. That way there's no interest.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like she's already got it budgeted out, right? She broke it down to 6 months. She's making the payments every month to guarantee that it's going to happen. And, it's funny because everybody thinks they have to do everything by themselves. And this is a great point.
Yep.
I love this about us.
Yeah.
So everybody, guys, if you're married, if you're significant other, if you have a best friend, if you have anything, right? Like, be honest with them and say, hey, look, I'm going to pay this in 6 months, right? Like, David's going to talk to Caitlin every month and say, hey, did you pay this? Hey, I seen that this came out of your account. All right, cool. Like, we're on board. Like, there's just nothing. Like, have somebody hold you accountable for things. So paying down debt and what you owe.
That's a huge
thing.
one.
Yeah.
Not only so we're at the first of the year. Let's look at our debt and let's pay it down. Nick said, write it all down.
Yeah.
Not only that, let's call our creditors. We talked about Vanessa calling hers at the beginning.
Yep.
So call your creditors and ask for them to reduce your interest rate. It doesn't hurt.
Sure. Oh, it doesn't hurt at all. And we find that to be some of the most successful ways to go. Like, so we talked about it in so many episodes, right? Like, so that's like, I guess that would be a challenge. It's not a new year, new you. Like, make phone calls, right? Like, do the things that we've talked about on this stuff. Like, call and lower everything. Like, if you have a credit card that you're paying money on and you're like, hey, I have 800 credit because I pay my bills on time. Like, good for you, but like, don't be a dumbass and like ask for lower interest rate. Like, the reason you have an 800 credit score is because you paid somebody money to have that.
Well, there are people out there that do not make calls. I am one of them. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not making any phone calls. Don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. Not happening. My wife, on the other hand, will call anybody at any time. She has called as my wife. She has called as my friends' wives. She will call any creditor at any point in time and sit there and try to talk them down on anything. So you have somebody in your life that likes to talk to people, use them. They're probably willing to do it. So get a hold of them and say, hey, I don't, have the gall to sit here and call, Chase and say, hey, I really want a lower interest rate. Your friend does. Your friend's going to go, yeah, I don't mind doing that. I'll be your wife.
Yeah, for sure. Like, number one, right? I mean, we can all just say what it is, right? Like, you can have partners in life now. And I guarantee that if David was like, hey, Nick, Dawn's on a cruise because I didn't want to go because I'm a stubborn SOB.
Yep.
Hey, man, do you want to come make some phone calls for me? I have a 24 rack of Bud Light with your name on it. So those that are listening, I just held up my Bud Light case. Right. I'm probably going to make some phone calls. If I get to drink and just sit here and go, hey, I'm going to need you to go ahead and lower that from 8. Like, and you can say it just like that. Like, people are, hi, this is, Chase Bank. How can I help you? And you're going to go, look, I got a credit card. You charging me. And like, this is how I talk to people. And people will get all angry. Yeah, I'm paying 19%. I'm going to go ahead and need you to put that down to 12. Well, sir, let me see what I can do. Can I have your name? Yep. My name is Nick. I'm calling on behalf of David, right? Like, oh, sir, can you get his permission? Yep. So I'm the power, like, I have power of attorney during this specific time. Can you prove that? Yep. Can you tell us your social? Okay, here you go. And then, honestly, I'm just going to sit there and waste these people's time until I get exactly what I'm going to lower it 5% guaranteed. And David and I will probably have bets along the way to see how much we can lower it.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's going to be a game for us because we're just bored. So, I mean, I don't owe any money on a credit card, but I would still call just to get an interest rate lowered in case I use it someday.
Yeah. So one of the other things, so
Yeah.
pandemic.
Pandemic.
You did traveling. You went to South Dakota.
I did.
I did no traveling. I went to Frankfort, Illinois to Sybaris.
Yes.
I'm going there next month again because it was that good. Yeah. Trust me, it cost that. So let's have a specific goal for something we want to do in the future. So I'm supposed to take a cruise in October.
Now we're talking future, right? Something pretty far out that we set goals for. Yep.
And I know how much it costs.
Yep.
I want to set money aside.
Yeah.
So when I sit there and we talked about budget and writing things down, Nick, would you suggest I write down what I need to spend and how much money I need to save each month to spend this to just go and have a good time and not worry about my money?
You know, when you can go and not worry about anything, not having to worry about paying that bill back when you get back, like that's the greatest feeling in the world, right? You know, so I've never taken a cruise. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because my uncle just reached out, said, "Hey, guys' weekend, 3-day cruise. What do you think?" And I'm like, "No, my uncle David."
Okay.
So
I like his name.
I'm like, all right, this doesn't sound bad. My wife's like, all right, just go. Like, shut up and leave. And, you know, so it's going to be October, let's say. And so I don't have to pay things and we're not booking anything because COVID and all that. But here's my suggestion to people. Like, if you have future plans, let's say, hey, I want to be able, I know I'm going to spend, you know what? Everybody look at your credit card right now, figure how much you spent on Christmas, right? Like, I don't care if you spent $4,000, but it made you happy that you spent $4,000. My suggestion to you is right now, for again, I do the 2-month thing, right? Like, all right, if I can save, you know, take that divided by 12. If I can save that for 2 months, I guarantee that I don't have to finance it later. I can't, then I need to change my budget, right? So your 4,000 needs to become 3,000. Going on vacation, just like David said. Yes, write it down, budget it. Set little goals in between. I think that's the biggest thing. All right, hey, you know, this month I need to save $150 for my $600 trip because I need it paid in 4 months, right? So set it every month. If you don't hit it, then you need to understand that you need to either A, change or try harder. And if you give yourself 6 months, that's
I know, isn't it?
yeah. So David just left me and came back with Rochester Mills. We're gonna interrupt this. Rochester Mills Imperial Triple Layer Delicatessen milk. This was hands down my favorite that came out of the case. All right.
I'm not a coconut fan.
We talked about Imperials. This is. I didn't. So when you said coconut, I was like, wow. I wonder if he's talking about the Imperial Delicatessen.
No.
The 3-layer. It's just this is fantastic. I'm gonna finish my Bud Light, and this is great.
While we're talking about it, I went and got my last Deschutes Black Beet Porter.
Yeah. So right, like guys, not everything has to happen overnight, right? But like what we're trying to do is teach you that things can happen over a long period of time if you just think about it for a long time, right? So like,
I think the thing they need to understand here is, listen, everybody wants these short-term goals, you know, something they can hit in 3 months, and that's great.
Yep.
Set a 3-month goal.
Yep.
But let's look at the long game. And the long game is Nick has it written down on his whiteboard at home.
Yep.
Do what I want when I want.
It's in bright red. It is. It's funny because I hadn't been down to my office in a while, and David and I were Zooming, or we were just talking or something. And
it was it wasn't our last episode.
But yeah, it was one of the episodes, and I was down in my own office, and I go, wow.
I think it was the one with Gary that I just posted today.
I said, this is amazing, right? It literally says it right there. It says, do what I want when I want to. It's right under the word goal, right?
Yeah.
Like, my goal is not money. It's not, you know, it's literally just everything of my life. Like, it's everything all at once. And what does that mean to me? like for you people, it's completely different. Like some people don't drink, some people, I mean, if you don't drink, you're probably not listening. But right, like that's exactly like I want to do this. I want to do this every Tuesday. I want to enjoy what we do.
Well, I sit there and I look at what could be with 2021 because I'm at that point in my life. I'm 43 years old. I want to do certain things. And one of the things I want to do is be able to travel more. Like I traveled a lot as a kid.
Yep.
That was a short walk.
I had to stretch my back.
Oh, okay. I traveled a lot as a kid, but I want to travel more now that I'm old. And 43 to me is old.
Yeah.
So
it's old to me.
I'm sure it is to you. So, I'm looking at things I could possibly do this summer. And one of the things, I talked about with Dawn was she's got an aunt in Baltimore and she loves her aunt a lot. And I've never been to Baltimore. I think that'd be kind of fun to go to. And maybe we take a drive that way. And maybe I can catch some baseball games while we're gone. And we can hit Baltimore and maybe hit Washington, D.C. I go see the Nationals play. If we come back, I can see Pittsburgh play. I know that when we looked, Baltimore was out of town, and I really want to go to Camden Park. But they're out of town, so, maybe another year I can go to Camden Park. I don't know. I thought about maybe Atlanta. It'd be nice to go catch a Braves game. Maybe the Cubs will be in town when I'm down there. Who knows? And what I really want to do is I want to start experiencing these things that, we haven't been able to do for so long because we've been so worried about paying our bills or raising our daughter or providing things we need to provide or, me coaching all summer long. I look at that and I'm like, I love coaching, but I kind of like to do other stuff now too. I've coached for almost 20 years. It's 18, I think I'm sitting at here. And it's like, hey, it's time to go do some stuff. I envy people like Nick because he decides, I can drop everything and go for a drive today. And, I might end up 15 hours away and that's okay. And honestly, anybody that watches this does not live in the Midwest of the United States, does not realize the rest of you people are sitting there going, I would never spend 15 hours in a car. And we're like, yeah, 15 hours, that's not the thing. We can do that in a day.
I say, right, like we Michigan people drive to Florida, right?
Yep.
24 hours. We're like, it's less than a day. We're going to be all right.
In 2016, I had a convention to go to in Cincinnati. I drove from here to Cincinnati, went to the convention, did what I needed to do, and drove back up to Plainfield, Illinois, so I could go to the Cubs game the next day. I spent so much time on the road that day, it was awful. But I wasn't doing anything else. I'm like, hey, I got to drive. Let's go.
Well, so, I think that's the Midwest problem is we don't understand time is money because, I went to St. Louis and then the same time I drove all the way up to Wrigley to watch a baseball game. And I'm like, it was just like 6 hours away, not 6.5 hours ago.
Well, we did a vacation episode too, and we talked about that. We want to hit certain there are just ballparks you want to go to, aren't there?
Oh yes.
At Fenway and Camden are two of them. Oh, I want to go to Fenway so bad.
This year, if they open up.
I don't know, maybe.
When our sponsors come in.
I know that if you want to join Mike and I, we're doing a Wrigley Day in the bleachers.
Oh, I love.
We're gonna get matching shirts that say left field sucks on the back.
Oh, I'm in.
So,
man, this sounds great. Cheers. Let's say, so we've hit on quite a few things. To us, it's not really the biggest importance as your future, but I would say it's right up there, right? So, I want you guys to do an emergency fund, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that. I mean, granted, nobody can think a pandemic's going to stop you for what are we going on like months.
It started in March and it's January, so we're in like 11 months.
Yeah, we're 10, 11 months in. Nobody can plan for that, right? Like I had 6 months reserve, and if I didn't do other things, like I'd be screwed. Like, so, but you might as well at least be able to have an exit strategy to buy yourself time to get out of what you have.
So I started my most recent class today.
Yeah.
Just tuition reimbursements back, so I went back to school. And one of the questions I had to answer was, what are the difficulties for a financial planner right now? We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
The last pandemic was 1918.
Oh, this
Isn't it good? And there was no basis for money back. I mean, literally money back then, you didn't have all these credit options. You know, if you made money, you got to spend it. And if you didn't make it, you were pretty well screwed. So it's so different nowadays. So you can't sit there and say, well, this is what it was like the last time a pandemic hit, because we don't have that to draw on.
Yep. Well, no one can predict it. No one has seen it coming. It's amazing to both of us the way that the economy, I mean, small business, the economy is doing globally pretty okay, but like small businesses are getting screwed, and we understand that. But that's not what people invest in, right? No. I mean, it's that,
people
like,
invest in big business.
Banks, right?
Yep.
Banks will probably get screwed on it, but like mortgage payments, because mortgage rates are so low, people can, and the real estate, it's so, like, to me, we're gonna do a whole episode, or at least we're gonna talk privately about how money's just, it's really weird how it's working right now. Scares the crap out of me.
So I signed my refi
Yeah,
2 days before Christmas.
good for you.
And I sat there at the title agency, and you know what she says to me? She goes, "You will never refi this house again, because you will never find a rate lower than this the rest of your life."
It's funny because you know how many people said that back when things hit.
Yeah, in like 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now look at it, right? Like, I mean, we're half price. Like,
2.875 I signed
which is
for.
huge. Like, that's good for you. Congrats. And you know, so speaking of refi, right? Like, property taxes. Take a look at
Due
it.
next month.
Take a look at your taxes. Take a look at right. So most people don't understand if they overtax you. So right now the economy in real estate is looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are at the point where you bought a house that's too high into your price range and then taxes just keep going up, you can go to the city and fight that, right? Like, say, hey, look, go, right? Say, hey, my house isn't valued at this much. Here's why.
Mm-hmm.
The inside shot, like, just sell them on what your crap is, right? Don't have too much pride. Just make sure you get your price lowered. They'll do an appraisal on themselves, and they'll lower your taxes, right? Like personal taxes. Figure out, right? I mean, David, you donate so much time. I don't worry about what I donate. Say, you know, mine's usually money or toys or something like that, right? Like, I mean, we hit our donation marks every year. We donate a lot to Don and David's thing. Even if it's, I don't know, I see toys for like 25 cents and I literally buy the entire fucking bin. And I'm like, hey, put this in the back of my truck. I just spent $80 on toys. And I'm like, here, just drop it. Because, you know, every kid gets at least one toy at that point.
Yeah.
You know, but like, look at your taxes. Look at things that you get to write off. Make sure that you know, hey, did your kid go to school? Did you pay for books? You get to write off so many things.
You need to really look at those taxes and what do they mean. So are you the type of person that really is needing that big return from, you know, March?
Yeah.
Or are you the person that doesn't care about a return in March? You want your money all year long. Now, smart people want it all year long. Okay. I am a smart person, but I know with my wife, she's happy to have a big return in March. So we kind of hedge that bet. And I hope that she'll be happy with whatever our return looks like in March. And you know, I have a little extra taken out of my check to be able to do that. Because right now that's, you know, for the last 20 years we've been together, that's been a thing where we knew that, you know, $3, $4, $5, $7, $8, $9,000 was coming in March. So we could use that to either pay something off or get something we needed to get or make, you know, remodel something, whatever it may be. You know, 5 years from now, I would hope that her and I are at a spot where she's like, hey, I don't really want a big return in March. I would like to just be even.
I would like to be even too.
He never gets a return.
Just so everybody's like, I want to be where David's at, right? Just even. Like if I didn't have to, so, well, you know, and right, I don't know what it is. 90% of America, 95%, like they get returned. I don't know what the percentage is. Like people get returns. I haven't gotten a return since I was, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. Like,
and one of the things to look at in taxes, many of the ways you can, help that is if you have an HSA. Max that sucker out every freaking year.
but don't overdo it because then you get penalized.
Yes, you do.
My wife and I were $7 short last year.
Ooh.
It was amazing. We didn't go over. We were $7 short. She goes, I don't know how you did it. And I was like, me neither. I didn't know there was a max, right?
There's
like,
a max.
So just to let you guys know.
I'm usually less than $1 short.
We didn't know. We didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that there was a thing, right? And nobody taught me anything. Nobody. All I know is like they were like, "Hey, it's tax-free money that you can only spend on health insurance." And I was like,
"Sign me up."
Well, like honestly, I was like, "All right, if I can get $40,000 saved up into this, like I'm set for a long period of time, and then I can go back to focus on investing of other stuff."
Yep.
And so I just started putting a bunch of money. Like I was like, "Hey, this is my 5-year plan," and luckily enough, I don't know, we were like $7 short of hitting the max, and she's like, "Oh yeah, your family, you're stuck as a family," and I was like, "That is crazy," like because I mean,
Uncle
like,
Sam wants his cut.
Dude, I lived off of less than 50% of my money, like working at Gentex. Like, I made $20-some an hour, and I lived off of less than 50%. Like that was great because I was investing everything. Like, you want to give me an HSA? You want to give me a 401k? You want to give me a Roth? Like, I'm in. So the next thing for people that have their shit together, right? A little bit. Even if you don't, I guess, I want you to pull your credit.
Everybody should do this.
Everybody. Pull your credit, right?
Pull your credit. Make your wife pull her credit, or your husband, whatever you have.
Pull your mama.
Your kids' credit. Pull your parents' credit. Pull everybody's credit.
Your mama, your daddy, your auntie. Like pull credit. Okay. So get to know where everybody's sitting. Make sure people are on board. Like hold people accountable. Because we talked about it, right? There's a time where, honestly, my credit could get pulled, and I haven't bought a house on credit that my credit would be pulled in. I don't know. Cheers, right? Like I haven't refied in a while. Like my credit doesn't get pulled anymore like it used to. Right when you hit 10 mortgages, you kind of stop, and then you start doing different things. But like I bought the commercial, so it's pull your credit to know what's on there.
You never know necessarily what's on there.
And fight.
There can be inaccuracies on your credit report that you don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight that and get that stuff removed. I have done that before. You need to know what is sitting out there so that you know that, yes, this is actually a debt I owe or did owe or paid off or whatever it is, or I don't recognize that. I don't know what that is.
That brings up a great quick story. So I had college debt, right? I was a true American. I had college debt. I looked, so Gentex had taught me to maybe go back into school because they were going to pay for it.
Okay.
And they said, hey, get your transcripts. So I called up Davenport University and I said, hey, I need my transcript. And they said, we can't do that. You owe money. I said, ma'am, look, like, I'm not trying to be an arrogant asshole. Like, I have paid off all of my college debt 7 years ago. It took me, and she goes, yep, you owe an administration fee of $12 and something cents, like 25 cents. And I was like, so this whole time I thought I was college debt, and I was like, do you accept card? And she's like, yes, we do. And I was like, great, like here's the 12. Like, but so you don't know what's out there. Like that was on my credit because it had been like nobody had taken me to collections because it was such a small amount, but it was out there because I took a loan for it, and I didn't know that I had to call a specific person to do it. And on your credit report, it'll tell you who it is. You'll contact them and pay the stupid money.
Well, my wife had Comcast at one point.
Yeah.
they sent her to collections, and she finds out, and she goes, I haven't had a Comcast bill in 20 years. What are you talking about? And they're like, well, you have 2 addresses in Detroit.
No,
She goes, no, I've never lived in Detroit. I've never lived anywhere near Detroit. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So she had to, jump through all these hoops to prove that she didn't live in Detroit. Mind you, now we do have Comcast internet, but that got wiped off her credit because it was BS. She never had that.
Oh, and that's, so pulling your credit will be the big other things that we want you to do this year for New Year, New You, right?
Let's look at our insurance policies.
I think we talked about it earlier with me, right? I don't know who my insurance is with. That hit home with me. I need to get my shit together.
So we had an episode a few weeks ago, TJ.
Yes.
We talked about insurance, all different types of insurance. So, and speaking of insurance, this is a great segue. So we have business insurance here at Break Room Therapy, which, we do the podcast in the break room of Break Room Therapy. And we get a phone call. You don't know about this. We get a phone call on New Year's Eve from our insurance agent.
Oops.
And he goes, yeah, I forgot to inform you, you're not allowed to take anybody under 16.
What you say?
And Dawn goes, we've always taken 13 through 17. What are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, they changed things. So you're not allowed to take anybody under the age of 16. And she goes, yeah, that doesn't work for me.
Not at all.
And can you come up here? Can you come up here?
So, and
she can't come up here, but so what happened is she talked to him and she goes, listen, we have helped so many kids that have basically told us, if not for being able to come here, I'd have killed myself.
Yeah.
And he goes, wow, I never realized that was a thing. And she goes, yeah, it is. We got a kid that was autistic, that, nonverbal. And he came here a couple times and all of a sudden he started talking. And he goes, wow, that's impressive. Can you put all of this in an email and send it to me? So, fast forward to Monday, he calls back and he goes, listen, because you have everything in place and you've always been making people do all of these things and parents have always been there, you can take 13 to 17.
Oh, perfect.
And my wife was like, great, because I wasn't going to change that. And I don't care what I have to pay because, it sucks to pay a lot of money for insurance, but I got to be here for these kids.
I say a life's a life, man. Like,
yeah.
I just said the words today. I told somebody, I said, you can't put $1 on a life, right?
You really can't.
Everybody watching, right? I am struggling, right? The pandemic is killing me. Stress-wise, not seeing my friends.
Yeah.
The physical connections of hugs. David and I are emotional people, and it sucks, right? But this is something completely different for the two of us.
So what you probably don't understand is, even though Nick is very not only empathetic but very outgoing, whereas he's an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I do not like people. I don't want to be around people. But the people I like, I want to be around. So Nick and I have always been, those types of people that, we would get together for occasions and there would be, 12, 15 people.
Depending.
And we'd have, game nights with Cards Against Humanity or something, any pool parties, whatever it may be.
Yep.
We played drunk cornhole. That was awesome.
I don't think anybody won.
I don't think so either because we were all drunk. And, these are things that you look at and you go, oh my God, we need interaction with people.
Yeah.
And for the last year, I've hung out with Nick. Okay, I've gone to his house. He has a pool, so we've gone to his house swimming. And how many other people did you hang out with that you normally hang out with?
One.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not hanging out with the people we normally hang out with.
My best friend one of my best friends here locally, he had 2 weeks off of work and finally they were like, hey, we have to set up a time. Like, I've been COVID, he's been, and we finished off half a 24 pack of Bud Light and sat in my basement and just house things because I'm like, I miss the crap out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm usually like, it's funny. My wife and I, we've been married 10 years. Oh my gosh, bro. No, so,
Oh no, my wife and I have been married 19.
yeah, but you guys are old.
Thanks. Fuck you.
But when we first got married, when we were dating, we bought our first house. We used to have a party every year that was called "We Miss Our Friends" party.
Yeah.
And you guys showed up to a few over in Granville, and people were like, "Why do you call it that we miss our friends?" And I was like, "Because we both work 80 hours a week, and we literally just miss our friends." And now here I am, right? Let's call it retired. I can't see my friends, and I'm over here like I just want everybody to come and enjoy. Like, my house is meant for the place where you just come.
Yep.
You don't think about shit. You relax. You enjoy. And yeah, okay, I constantly work and I constantly entertain and do whatever, but you shouldn't think about a single thing because it's just the place to do that, right? And so it's I want everybody to be in a spot financially, and when you fix your finances a little bit, you're not going to fix emotionals all the way, but you'll cut things in half. Like, honestly, you'll cut things in half. Like, it sucks to say, but money doesn't fix everything, but it sure helps.
It really does help.
It helps. And we're not here to fix, we're here to help. Like,
well, and you look at these things, and I think we've all gone through this, through the entire pandemic.
Yep.
You're spending time, if you're a concerned person, you're spending time with limited people. So you're not, having this big 50-person rager that you might have had. You're having a 3-person rager, which isn't much raging at all. And it sucks. And you're like, so like New Year's. I'm used to doing stuff for New Year's. We usually, we've either gone bowling,
yep,
or had people over or gone to somebody's house. And this year we had Zoom New Year's. And I remember somebody on Zoom New Year's goes, "Hey, we're about 30 seconds away from the New Year." I couldn't give a crap less. It just didn't matter.
I say we had one group of people over that my wife works with, so if they have it, we all have it.
Yep.
It was 2 people, and a husband and wife, and honestly, we sat on the couch and we go, "Happy New Year!"
Yay!
Played some board games. Yep. It's weird because I think we really sat 6 feet apart playing board games.
Oh yeah.
But that was, to me, it's a completely different thing. So what we're trying to do here this year, our biggest goal is to get everybody on board for things.
So that you can fix your life.
Yeah.
We want you to have a good, healthy financial life so that you can do what I want when I want.
Not everybody has to do that, but I hope that's everybody's goal.
And that should be the goal, honestly.
Do what I want when I want.
We got 2 things left on this list, and they're 2 things my wife hammers home to me, but I ignore all the time.
Dude, so people just watching. When he says those words, those are the truest words I've ever met. Okay.
Yep.
When he says those words, they also hit me because my wife absolutely hates how much of a hoarder I am. Right? I don't even cut my beard because I don't want to get rid of the hair. No, it's that. So speaking of that, right? Like, I want you to sell things that you're not using, right? And I don't mean your beard because I'm using this every day to look sexy.
But we're not even talking about things you might enjoy.
I just seen
shit you have that you don't use.
Well, I have a room. It's funny because I have an old office, and I got my office back in the basement about a year ago. Well, okay, my guns are in my old office, so I use those. I haven't used them in a year.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna throw them away because I know someday I'll actually use them.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, everything else in there could probably get thrown away. I was on Facebook and there was this hat, and it said, "Hey, take all your clothes in your closet and take the hangers and place them backwards, right? So they face you, because normally when you go, you just put the hanger on.
Yeah.
And they said, if you use the hanger, right, you're going to take it off, and then there'll be nothing on there. But now come June, if you haven't touched that article of clothing, get rid of it, right? Sell it on Facebook. I mean, try to make 25 cents. I don't care. Like, I am not a fan of Goodwill because the amount of money that they don't give to people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just as much as I'm not like, do I support the study of finding the cure for breast cancer? Yes. Do I support Susan G. Komen? No. Right? There's 9. Last I knew it was 7, but I think there's 9 people making well over 7 figures in this corporation to help cure a cause. When
Breast Cancer Research Foundation, 92%, I want to say, of every dollar they bring in, they put back into research.
That's huge.
And Coleman puts like 7 cents of every dollar.
Right. So like, I think 8. But like, so like 92% goes back into like the company, 8% goes into research. So, but I really think, like, guys, support your own pocketbook, right? Have a garage, have a touch-free, right? Facebook's great with it. It's like, what is this? PP porch pickup, right? Like, PP, like, so put it on Facebook. Like, hey, $2 for these shoes. My wife had some golf shoes that she never used. Like, it literally was, I don't know, $7.90. Once. She golfed once, and of course, like, me being me, I was like, I want to buy you golf shoes. Let's go.
I don't have golf shoes, and I've golfed way more than that.
Yeah. And she'll never golf again.
Right.
So we sold those, but like, right, so I have clothes that, let's be honest, folks. Okay, so like, I have large or extra large clothes. You watching just seen that face. You listening need to say
he's never wearing those.
I mean, right, like this, like, I have the money to go buy this again if I need it. Okay, like, I mean, I should probably save one shirt that's from a concert from when I was a kid that I care about the memory. Or, like, that's the other thing. Like, okay, sell your stuff, or honestly, recycle it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're me, right, a fat guy, a big guy, I don't want to call it fat. I am fat, but if you're a big guy that has shirts that mean something to you from concerts you've gone to, right? There's companies out there that will make blankets for you.
Yep.
They'll make just like a wall poster or something. Yep. Like, okay, that's why we go back to budgeting, right? Pay your $60 to get something really awesome so you have a wall decoration. Because otherwise, you just see clothes sitting in your closet, bending your coat hanger with how many things you have, and you're doing nothing with it. So
we did that with Caitlin's jerseys.
Yeah,
her whole life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you kept them all. Like, now, like, cut them down, send them out, do something with them, create something better, bigger. So if you don't use it within the 6 months, get rid of it, right? Okay, if it's an alcoholic tool, save that bad boy, because you know what? I'm always going to use a shaker. In the summer, I have, you know what? I can't guarantee it's going to be 6 months, but I know in July, I'm using that shaker, baby. Pineapple martinis all day.
And then the other thing you need to hit is those things that you pay for every month that you may not use.
Yeah, sure.
Let's get rid of that stuff. Like, I know Caitlin and I had a subscription to GameFly. That's where you get games.
And they sent you like an actual disc or something.
Yeah, they sent you an actual disc. And I mean, we used it, but I would keep a disc for 6 months just to make sure I could get whatever new game I wanted when it was coming out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I paid 6 months worth of that game, but I wasn't even playing it. I didn't, really care that I had it. So I spent all this money to, save $15 off a new release. And I finally said to her, at the beginning of the pandemic, I'm like, does this make sense? And she goes, no. And we got rid of that. And I'm saving $17 every month now by not having it.
So, and $17, and now it gives us more money to sponsor ourselves. Speaking of sponsors, we're going to run through a quick breakdown. Guys, we hope that everything helped you out tonight. New year, new you, right? Honestly, the biggest thing is make a budget, take strides, make steps towards your future. David and I really, we've learned a lot in the 6, 7, 8 months that we've been doing this.
Really have.
We hope that you guys enjoy this content. Biggest shout out tonight because they were a free sponsor.
Free sponsor, Coors Light.
Coors,
Coors Seltzer.
let's say, which is still Coors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mango, really good. If you guys sell them in separate packs, we did not enjoy the lemon lime, but we
not good.
Black cherry and the mango.
We're not bad.
Yeah, I say, and the other one, grapefruit.
I'm not a grapefruit guy, so
I say not gonna happen.
my wife's gonna try that. We'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. And
say-
Deschutes,
I say
Rochester Mills,
Rochester Mills, really like
Atwater,
nailed it. And
Bud Light.
I say, I know we gave it to Coors, and we're gonna give it to Coors, right?
Yeah.
So let's have this. We're gonna go. Butts to nuts here, right? Like Coors, Bud Light, whichever one of you gives us the first sponsor. I promise you, I'll never drink the other one. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll never drink the other one on air.
Yeah, sick. Bud Light, really. Anheuser-Busch, you've always been my go-to. I wish it came with like a little fresh lime. I know you made Bud Light lime, but too much lime. So just give me a little fresh lime on the side. I'll put it half on my taco and half in my beer, and I'll be a happy man.
Tacos sound good.
Tacos do sound good. Guys, we said it in the beginning, but we want to say it again. Like, subscribe, share. We really appreciate everything you do. We're looking forward to this new year. David, I know that we have a crap ton of great episodes coming up. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about finances, yourself, your life, taking control, making yourself a better financial future.
Investments, budgeting, we're going to hit it all again this year because we need to, and people need to hopefully get their finances right. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. If you want to talk about your debt, we would love to hear from you.
Yep.
If you want to just, hop in for an episode, we would love that too, because, people hop in every now and then, and we have a good time talking to them, and hopefully, you're going to be one of them. So we'll catch you guys next week, and thanks for joining us.
Take care.